I never thought family could carve you open like that, but there I was, choking on turkey and resentment at Mom's birthday spread in her cramped Pasadena ranch house, the air thick with cranberry sauce and lies. My sister, leaned across the checkered tablecloth, her Botox-smooth face twisting into that fake concerned pout she'd perfected on Instagram, and whispered loud enough for the whole room to hear. Valentina, honey, you're gonna die alone in that shitty apartment. You know that? No one's coming for the help. The words landed like a gut punch, her eyes gleaming with the kind of victory that tastes like stolen champagne. And then, as if scripted by some sadistic Hollywood hack, the front door swung open, and in walked my husband, Mark. Arm in arm with her, no. With me, or what used to be me, flanked by our twins, Mia and Max. All grins and gap-toothed innocence, like we'd never swapped souls in a back-alley clinic 6 months ago. It started with a promise. The kind sisters make under cotton candy skies at county fairs. Back when we were just Valentina and Elena Ruiz, 2 latchkey kids scraping by in East LA. While Mom waitress doubles at the diner. I'll always have your back, Val, she'd say, linking her pinky with mine as we dodged gang tags on the chain-link fence. But promises in the barrio are as fragile as piñata candy, sweet until they shatter. Elena was the pretty one, the firecracker with curves that turned heads and a laugh that could disarm a cop. I was the fixer, the one who patched her scrapes, forged her report cards, and covered for her shoplifting sprees at the mall. By 20, she'd burned through boyfriends like discount cigs, while I buried myself in night classes at community college, dreaming of a real shot at something bigger than minimum wage. The betrayal hit when Elena got knocked up at 22 by some lowlife mechanic who bolted faster than a repo man. She was spiraling, no job, no plan, just a belly swelling under her crop tops and a dealer sniffing around for easy marks. Mom was 1 chemo round away from the grave, her lungs black from years of secondhand smoke and stress.
Val.
I can't do this. Elena sobbed into my shoulder one rain-slick night, the Hollywood freeway humming like a bad omen outside our shared apartment. They'll take the baby.
CPS.
Everything. I don't know why I said yes. Maybe it was the Ruiz blood. That stubborn loyalty that keeps us fighting shadows. Or maybe I was just tired of being the invisible one. So I did it. I claimed the pregnancy. Faked the doctor's notes. Wore the pads under my shirts. Let the whispers spread at work that I was the reckless one. When Mia and Max came screaming into the world at Cedars-Sinai, 8 pounds of wrinkled fury each, I signed the birth certificate. Elena vanished for a fresh start in Vegas, wiring me postcards from slots and strangers' beds. That lie bought her a clean slate. She resurfaced 5 years later, all highlights and hustle, crashing back into my life like a bad sequel. By then, I'd clawed my way up, married Mark, a rising star in biotech with a jawline like a Kennedy and a Rolodex full of venture capitalists. We lived in a Spanish-style McMansion in the hills, the kind with ocean views and a Tesla in the garage. Elena showed up at Mia's kindergarten open house, looking like a knockoff me, same dark waves, but with extensions and a spray tan. Sis, I need a loan, she cooed, batting lashes over tears. Just till I get on my feet. Mark bought it, wrote the check, and before I could blink, she was our house guest, charming the twins with stories of rodeos and rock stars, edging into our world like kudzu. But Elena didn't stop at the couch. She sniffed out Mark's secrets, the ones he buried under board meetings and bourbon.
C.
Mark's company, NeuroSync Labs, wasn't just peddling neural implants for migraine relief. Buried in the R&D basement was Project Echo, a black-budget body swap prototype, funded by shadowy DoD contracts. The pitch? Upload consciousness. Download into a fresh vessel. Immortality for the elite. Or so the whispers went. Mark called it the future. I called it Frankenstein's wet dream. He'd confide in me late nights, scotch on his breath, about the glitches, neural mismatches, phantom pains, souls that didn't quite stick. It's not ready, Val, he'd murmur, tracing my hip like I was the only anchor in his storm. But Elena? She saw dollar signs. And power. The hidden secret unraveled on a Tuesday. The kind of scorched SoCal afternoon where the Santa Anas whip lies into wildfires. I'd come home early from auditing Mark's books, perks of being the CFO's wife with a forensic accounting cert, and found them in the pool house. Not just tangled sheets, but plans. Elena's laptop opened to echo schematics. Mark's voice low and urgent. We test on volunteers first. Clean slate. No traces. My stomach dropped like I'd mainlined battery acid. That night, I confronted him. What the hell is this? I hissed, slamming printouts on the marble island. Mark's face went ashen, then steel.
Val.
It's bigger than us. National security. You wouldn't understand. Elena slunk and then, robe slipping off one shoulder like a bad porno cue.
Chill, sis.
It's just business. Business. That's what they called it when they pinned the SEC fraud on me 3 weeks later. Mark's cooked books, offshore shells funneling Echo funds to private jets and mistresses, suddenly had my signature. Forged? Sure. But who'd believe the loyal wife over the grieving husband? Elena played the confidant, testifying in depositions about my stress and erratic moods, painting me as the villain who cracked under pressure. The twins? They barely recognized me in the courtroom, clutching Mark's tie as Elena cooed from the gallery. I got 5 years at Chowchilla. Federal time for white-collar crooks. My life dissected on Dateline specials, the housewife heist. Mom died while I was inside, cancer chewing her down to bones. Elena posting eulogies from my old house. Mia and Max calling her auntie in the family pics. Prison was a slow bleed. Orange jumpsuits and concrete echoes. Women with eyes like shattered glass trading stories of men who vanished. I learned to read the room,
To spot the snakes.
and I planned. Letters to old contacts. Whispers to a guard whose cousin ran black market tech in the valley. Echo wasn't just a prototype anymore. Leaks said it was live. Beta tested on death row inmates, swapping into lab-grown husks. Mark and Elena? They'd gone full power couple. Him CEO. Her the philanthropist arm. Rubbing elbows at Davos and Burning Man. But cracks showed. Paparazzi shots of Mark's pill pop haze. Elena's Botox frozen in perpetual snarl. Parole came after 3. Good behavior, and a judge with biotech stock. I stepped out into Fresno smog, Elena's body waiting like a curse. No, not yet, the swap hadn't hit. That came later. In a strip mall clinic off the 101. The kind of place that smells like bleach and broken dreams. I'd tracked a rogue echo tech, a disgruntled engineer named Ruiz, irony's a bitch, willing to flip for cash. One shot, he grunted, strapping me to a gurney under flickering fluorescence. Neural bridge. Painful as hell. You go in, you come out. Different. I didn't ask whose body. Didn't care. Just needed a vessel strong enough to fight back. Waking up was like drowning in static. Limbs too long. Voice too husky. Elena's voice. Her curves. Her faded tattoo from a Vegas bender peeking from her wrist. The tech grinned, wiping sweat. It worked. You're now. The real ones in cryo. Waiting for pickup. I stumbled to the mirror, staring at the face that had haunted my cell block nightmares. Sharp cheekbones. Eyes like polished obsidian. But mine now. Mine to wield. First move, reconnaissance. I dyed the hair mousy, donned thrift store scrubs, and infiltrated as a temp nurse at Cedars, the same hospital where my kids were born. Mark and Elena were there for a routine check, her whining about migraines, him barking into his Bluetooth about FDA hurdles. I wheeled the tray in, heart hammering like a jackhammer on asphalt. Up close. She looked. Off. My old body, but softer around the edges. Laugh lines faked with filler. Who the fuck are you? She snapped. My own voice a stranger's weapon. Just the help, I murmured, injecting the sedative with a flick, same stuff they dosed me with in county. She slumped. Mark too slow on the uptake. By the time security rolled, I was gone. Her phone in my pocket buzzing with texts, miss you.
Babe.
Dinner at Nobu?
Oh.
The irony. From there, it was chess in the shadows. I rented a flea bag in Koreatown, walls thin as promises, and started peeling layers. Elena's digital footprint was a goldmine, encrypted drives full of Mark's love notes. Echo trial logs showing swaps on junkies and Johns. Bodies discarded like used condoms. The big secret? The crime I'd taken the fall for wasn't just fraud. It was murder. A whistleblower, some mid-level coder who'd sniffed the DoD ties, vanished after threatening to go public. Autopsy said overdose. But the tox screen screamed engineered. Mark's signature on the disposal order. Elena's alibi, a girl's night with my credit card. Controversial decisions? Hell, they define revenge. First, the twins. I couldn't just storm in guns blazing. Mia and Max didn't know Aunt Elena from a hole in the wall. So I played long game. Anonymous Venmo drops for their soccer leagues. Notes in lunchboxes signed your secret admirer. Mia's teacher emailed about a quiet girl sketching houses with pools. Max started asking Mark why mommy never sang lullabies anymore. Cracks in the facade.
Then.
The affair. I leaked Elena's, my side piece to TMZ. A pool boy half her age. Caught mid-tryst at the Malibu rental. Tabloids ate it up. Biotech babe's betrayal. Mark's stock dipped 8%. Bored whispering poison pills. She fought dirty. Of course, PI tales on suspicious nurses. But I was a ghost. Bouncing burners and VPNs like a pro from my prison poker nights. The tension built like a summer squall. Mom's birthday was the flashpoint. Her 80th a sad affair in the old house. Now Elena's Payday Terra since she'd upgraded us all. I showed as Elena the sister. Frumpy and forgotten. Nursing a watered-down margarita while she preened in my sundress. Regaling aunts with tales of Napa weekends. That's when she dropped the bomb. That die alone zinger. Her foot nudging mine under the table, a warning kick. The door opened. And there they were, Mark. Polished as ever. Mia chattering about unicorns. Max clutching a Lego set. They swarmed her. Kisses landing like property stamps. I excused myself to the bathroom. Puking up the guac. Staring at her face in the sink mirror. My face. Stolen. It was time. The drive back to Koreatown was a blur of taillights and taunts. Elena's ancient civic rattling like my resolve. I needed an in, something to flip the board. That's when the tech called, voice crackling over a burner. Ruiz, you owe me details. Whose body did you snag? I hesitated, then spilled. Not just any husk, but Elena's, the Elena. Prepped for a refresh swap Mark had greenlit. Turns out, she'd been itching for an upgrade, scouting donor lists for a younger shell. The real her? Frozen in a neurosync vault, consciousness in limbo, a digital paperweight until they thawed her for the next jump. Poetic, in a twisted Cali way. Leverage. I hit the dark web, trading crypto for a hacker kid in Seattle who cracked their security cams. Footage gold. Mark in the lab, pacing like a caged wolf. Elena's avatar on screen, my avatar, begging for release. Babe, it's glitching. I feel. Echoes. His reply, suck it up. We're close. One more trial. And we're gods. The trial? A senator's wife. Comatose from a Botox OD. Slotted for swap into a trafficked teen. Human trafficking meets transhumanism, America's underbelly. Gift wrapped in innovation. My first real strike landed at dawn, 3 days post-lunch. I slipped into their gated community, Eagle Rock's finest. With keycard I'd cloned from a gardener's fob, dressed as a jogger in Lululemon knockoffs. The house loomed, all glass and ego. Infinity pool reflecting the first pink streaks. Elena was alone, hungover from whatever artisanal gin she chased with regret, scrolling feeds in silk pajamas. I waited till she stepped onto the patio for her green juice ritual, then struck, a taser to the ribs. Zap like Judgment Day. She crumpled, my old body sagging like a deflated dream. Zip ties and duct tape. Dragged to the guest bath, ironic, the one I'd redecorated with Moroccan tiles. When she woke, groggy and cursing, I peeled off the wig, let her hair tumble free. Morning, sis, I said, voice a purse she'd recognized from mirror practices. Her eyes bulged, that perfect face crumpling into horror.
Val? No.
Fuck.
No.
This isn't. I slapped her, the crack echoing like a starter pistol. Echo's a bitch.
Huh.
Turns out, you can run from your messes, but your soul's got GPS. She thrashed, spitting venom. You crazy puta. Mark will bury you. We're untouchable. Untouchable. That's when I showed the footage. Phone propped on the sink like a confessional. Her digital ghost pleading. Mark's cold calculus. Untouchable? Like the coder you OD'd? Or the senator's wife you slotted for parts? Lies poured out then. A torrent of barrio blues. How she'd always hated my perfect life. The kids who should have been hers. The husband who chose stability over spark. I deserved it.
Val.
You stole my babies. Stolen. The word hung, twisting the knife I'd carried since Chowchilla. I left her trust, a gag of her own Hermes scarf, and raided the safe, passports, deeds, a flash drive labeled contingency. Contingency was a doozy, backup swaps, kill switches for loose ends. Mark's failsafe, a neural bomb. Remote-triggered psychosis for anyone probing too deep. I'd felt twinges already. Headaches like ice picks. Whispers in the dark. Time was bleeding out. Next play, the twins. Controversial as hell. Kidnapping your own blood? But desperation's a mother. And I was playing both hands. I tailed their school bus to Griffith Park. the after-school hike program where Mark dropped them for bonding time. Mia spotted me first. That kid radar pinging. Annie Elena? You look funny. Max hung back, Lego-brained and wary. I knelt. Heart a freight train. Hey, superheroes. Wanna see a secret fort? Lies to children taste like ash. But they followed, trusting the face that baked their cookies. We hunkered in the oaks, away from ranger trails, and I spun truth as fairy tale. Once, a witch stole Mommy's sparkle. But Auntie knows magic to bring it back. Mia's eyes widened. Max fiddled with a stick sword. Will it hurt? Hurt. God. The understatement. I dosed them with Kid Benadryl from my pack, sleepy time bullshit to keep 'em quiet, then bundled into the Civic. Bound for a safe house in the valley. A foreclosed craftsman I'd sublet under a ghost name. Waking them was worse. Tears. Accusations. Mia clutching her unicorn backpack like a shield. Where's Daddy? You lied. I held them, rocking like I did in the delivery room, whispering apologies into their curls. Mommy's fighting to come home. This is how we win. Mark's response was nuclear. Alerts blared on every news feed. Heir to biotech empire kidnapped by jealous relative. Elena, freed by some maid's mercy call. Played victim flawless, tear-streaked presser outside the PD. Clutching a teddy bear. My sisters unhinged. Lost everything. Now this. Cops swarmed. Choppers thumping over the Hollywood sign like war drums. I went dark. Wi-Fi jammers and burner drops. Rationing PB and JS while the kids drew escape maps on butcher paper. The antagonist's moxie shone then. Mark didn't just lawyer up, he weaponized Echo. Leaks hit my drop, neural scans showing anomalies in Elena's brain, my brain now flagging me as the unstable twin. Bounty hunters. Off-books mercs from his DoD Rolodex. Sniffing my trail. One cornered me at a Ralph's in Van Nuys. Glock whispering from a hoodie. I fought dirty, pepper spray and a heel to the nuts, fleeing with a grazed shoulder that burned like accusation. Blood on the linoleum. My first real scar in the skin. Tension coiled tighter. A noose of nights. The kids adapted. Stockholm Slow. Movie marathons of Encanto. Stories of abuelas tamales masking my sobs. But Mia started nightmares. Screaming witch in the dark. Max built Lego forts around his bed. Guilt gnawed. Controversial calculus. Were they safer with me? The phantom mom. Or her? The thief? I pushed on. Hacking Mark's calendar for the climax. A neurosync gala at the Getty. Black tie tech bros toasting the future. Infiltration meant glamour on a dime. Thrift LBD. Clip-ins. Makeup masking the gaunt. I slipped past valets as Elena Voss, a fabricated donor rep. Flute in hand. The villa glittered. Chihuly glass twisting like souls in flux. Mark held court by the infinity fountain, Elena on his arm, my arm dripping diamonds like venom. Our eyes locked across the crowd, hers widened. A predator scenting prey. Security, she hissed into his ear. But I was already moving, slipping a spiked cocktail her way via a waiter's tray. She sipped, faltered, Rohypnol remix. Courtesy of my clinic ghost. As she swayed, I cornered her in the gardens. Bougainvillea, thorns snagging like fate. Game over. Sis. She lunged, nails raking. My blood mixing with night dew. We grappled. Bodies, our body, twisting in the dirt. A mirror fight to the death. You think you can take it back? She gasped. knee to my gut. It's mine now, but I had the drive. Contingency unspooling, the kill switch code. Her digital leash. I jammed the USB into a stolen tablet, initiating purge. Her eyes rolled, body convulsing, not death, but echo, memories flooding back. The coder's face. The whistleblower's plea.
No. Val.
I didn't mean lies. Always lies. Mark burst then. Security swarm. But the twist hit like a freight. Sirens wailed not for me, but him. Feds. Badges flashing ATF and SEC. Cuffing the mogul mid-roar. Mr. Ruiz. You're under arrest for conspiracy, trafficking, and murder. The whistleblower? Not dead, relocated. Testifying under protection. Elena's alibi crumbled, my forged SIGs traced to her prints. The real crime? She'd swapped us before the fall, puppeteering my body through the fraud. Me rotting in her shell at county psych, drugged, forgotten. Dawn broke over the Valley safe house like a reluctant witness. Pink smog bleeding into the blinds. The kids slept tangled in quilts. Unicorn dreams chasing demons. While I paced the kitchenette. Burner buzzing with a text voice. Purge worked. Her consciousness is fragmenting, ghost in the machine. But Mark's got backups. You gotta hit the vault. The vault. Neurosync's crown jewel. A Faraday-caged bunker under their Century City HQ. Housing the soul drives. Destroy it. End the nightmare. But getting in? Fort Knox with neural locks. Guards packing more than tasers. Controversy peaked in those hours. Do I flee with the twins? Vanish to Mexico, like Mom always threatened? Or press? Risk orphaning them for a shot at justice? Mia woke first, padding in with bedhead and questions. Andy, when's Mommy coming? The witch is gone. I knelt, throat tight. Soon.
Mia.
But we gotta be brave.
Brave.
The word mocked as I dosed them again. Deeper sleep this time. Syrup in sippy cups. Call it mercy or madness. I bundled them into the Civic's trunk, hidden under blankets, and pointed south. Not border run, but decoy, a drop at my old parole officer's cousin. A no questions abuela in Boyle Heights with a backyard swing set and tamale steam. Handover was a gut wrench, Mia's clingy hug, Max's Lego clutch-like talisman. Promise, they whispered. Cross my heart. I lied, driving away with echoes in the rear view. Alone now. Truly, Elena's body a hollow suit, scars itching under the wheel. The heist needed crew. So I called in Markers, the Seattle hacker for blueprints. A ex-con bartender from Chowchilla for muscle, Rico. Built like a fridge. Owed me for smuggling his letters out. This personal, he grunted over diner coffee. Hash browns congealing. Blood, I said. He nodded, cracking knuckles. Then it's family. Prep was gritty poetry, stolen jumpsuits from a uniform depot. EMP gadgets cobbled in a maker space. Rico's cousin forging IDs as maintenance crew. We rolled up to Century City at midnight shift change. The towers gleaming like false teeth. Breach was clean, hackers worm in the HVAC. Lights flickering blame on brownout. Guards bought the story, waving us to sublevel 7. Elevator hummed descent. My pulse a bass line. You good, Rico murmured.
Pizzi, elite.
Taser humming in my pocket. The vault door loomed, iris skin mocking. Plan A, Elena's biometrics, my old retinas. Cloned via black market contacts. Scan beeped green. Hydraulics sighing open. Inside, sterile hum. Rows of cryopods like sci-fi coffins, drives pulsing blue. Mark's was front and center, labeled primary alpha. Elena's beside, echo beta. Fracturing code scrolling like bad poetry. I yanked hers first. Smash on concrete, sparks. Then silence. Rico hauled the server rack. Cables snapping like veins. Alarms wailed then. Red lights strobing judgment. Intruders. Code black. Footsteps thundered. Boots on steel. Rico barreled first. Bull rushing 2 guards into lockers. Fists flying like freight. I dodged. Taser zapping a third, crackles and curses. But Mark was waiting. Emerging from shadows like a Bond villain reject. Syringe in hand. Valentina, he drawled. My stolen voice a chill. No, his now. Elena's body his prison post-purge. Twist within twist. He'd swapped himself into her shell after the gala bust. Contingency his escape hatch. Feds had the old him. But this? Fresh meat. You think you're the hero, he sneered. Lunging. Syringe grazed my arm. Neural toxin. Echoes screaming in my veins. Visions flashed. The coders gasp. Elena's laughter. Mom's grave. We grappled. Bodies slick with sweat. His strength mine once. Familiar betrayal. I built this for us, he gasped. Pinning me. You were always too soft.
Soft.
The word ignited. I need. Twisted. Drove the taser home, zap into neck. His eyes rolling white. Rico dragged him zip-tied. But the toxin bit. Hallucinations clawed. Walls breathing. Twins' faces in the vents. Finish it, I croaked, nodding to the pods. He torched them, flames licking circuits. Acrid smoke like funeral pyre. We fled upward. Fire suppression foam chasing. Bursting into night air as sirens converged. Rico peeled in a U-Haul. Me slumped in the bed. World tilting. Waking was antiseptic. Hospital beeps. LAPD badges looming. Valentina Ruiz. A detective drawled. Notepad poised. Or should I say, Elena? The room spun. How? Rico's arrest. Snitch under pressure? But no, the gala footage. My face on cams. Elena's prints on the safe. I'd played myself. Controversial endgame. Interrogation was a marathon. Coffee sludge and psych evals. Feds circling like sharks. Mark, the original, sang from lockup. Trading echo dirt for leniency. Swaps on politicians. Bodies trafficked from border runs. Elena's fragment? Erased. But echoes lingered in testimony, her digital ghost spilling the coder kill. My frame-up. The twist reversed hard. I wasn't the fall guy, we were pawns. Mom's cancer? Sabotaged by Mark's early trials. Elena complicit for a payout. The pregnancy swap? Her idea. Testing neural links on fetuses. Us. The lab rats. Charges stuck me. Accessory after the fact. But immunity danced if I flipped. I did. Hours blurring into deals. The kids, reunited at a foster neutral. Mia's hug, a lifeline. Max's mommy's back, a question mark. Mark rotted in Supermax. Elena's shell autopsied, brain fry from purge. Ruled suicide. Justice? Debatable. The barrio whispers said I got mine. The Hills crowd called it tragedy. A family's implosion. Months later. Parole board cleared me Valentina now. Biometrics restored via court-ordered scan. We moved to a cottage in Santa Barbara. Waves crashing like absolution. Mia paints witches turning to birds. Max builds SWAT machines from kits. I watch them. Elena's laugh in my throat sometimes. A ghost I can't exorcise. Revenge? It hollowed as much as it healed. Die alone? Maybe. But with them, I'm alive. Stolen seconds reclaimed. Debatable victory in the American dream's rearview. Or is it? Last week. A package. Unmarked drive. Footage of another vault. Mark's smirk from a hidden feed. Round 2. Val. The cycle spins. Sisters. Souls. Betrayals infinite loop. Epilogue shadows crept slow. The Santa Barbara salt era bomb that never quite soothed. It had been 6 months since the Vault Inferno. The headlines fading to footnotes. Biotech scandal. Sisters' deadly swap exposed. Pundits on Fox and MSNBC dissected it like Thanksgiving turkey. Genius gone wrong versus corporate Frankenstein, America's favorite pastime. Turning tragedy to clickbait. I played the survivor on Good Morning America. Voice steady in my reclaimed shell. Twins off camera, with sippy cups and scripts. Forgiveness isn't on the table, I told Diane Sawyer's clone. Eyes dry as the goby. Inside, a storm sewer of what-ifs. Life rebuilt in fragments. Therapy sessions with a shrink who billed like a surgeon. Prescribing mindfulness apps and chamomile. The cottage was cozy tyranny, adobe walls. Bougainvillea choking the fence. Ocean roiling like unresolved rage. Mia thrived. Her kindergarten finger paints evolving to portraits of 2 mommies fighting dragons. Max, quieter. His Lego empires now labyrinths with trapdoors. Whispering, "What if we swap back?" at bedtime. I answered with hugs. But sleep evaded. Dreams replaying the clinic gurney. Elena's cackle echoing in the ether. The drive arrived on a Tuesday. FedEx Phantom in brown wrap. No return. I sliced it open on the porch swing. Seagulls jeering overhead. Inside, matte black USB. Label scrawled for V, truth or dare. Heart jackhammering. I plugged into the old laptop, firewalled. Paranoid's paradise. File bloomed, and P4 grainy as bootleg porn. Time-stamped pre-gala. Mark's face filled the screen. Not the vault Mark. But him, original flesh. Pacing a penthouse I didn't recognize. Dubai skyline mocking through floor-to-ceiling glass.
Val.
If you're seeing this, Elena's gone rogue, he intoned. Voice that velvet trap I'd fallen for at a UCLA mixer. The purge? Her idea, insurance against you. But listen, the babies. Not mine. Not hers. Static crackled. Cut to grainier clip. Clinic cam. 18 years back. Elena on the gurney, pre-swap test. Her belly swollen. Text murmuring fetal neural sync. Then, horror, ultrasound flicker. 2 heartbeats. But signatures.
Off.
Clones, Mark narrated. Echoes Genesis. We grew M from stem cells, imprinted with our traits. Perfect heirs. No messy DNA. Clones. The word detonated. Shards embedding deep. Mia and Max, not born of love or lapse, but lab-spawned puppets. Souls engineered in vitro vats. The pregnancy lie? Cover for prototype kids. Me the unwitting surrogate shell. Elena's jealousy? Facade for control. She'd coded their loyalties. Neural tweaks for obedience. Mark's betrayal? Layered cake. He loved the tech. Not the thief. But played along for the patent windfall. I hurled the drive into the surf. Waves swallowing secrets like sins. But the twist festered. Were they mine? Blood or bites? The hugs felt real. Max's gap-toothed grin, a universal bomb. Controversial calculus redux. Tell them. Shatter the illusion? Or bury it? Let the American lie of family persist? Final decision came at dusk. Bonfire on the beach. Twins roasting marshmallows while I stared into flames. Mommy, you okay? Mia asked, sticky fingers on my knee. Better than ever, I lied, pulling them close. Revenge's end? Not catharsis, but cycle, dark, debatable, distinctly yes. Elena's ghost whispered approval from the smoke. We win together.
Sis.
Or lose. Who's counting in this swapped-up dream? The Mogul's empire crumbled. Sure, Neurosync seized. Assets auctioned to Chinese conglomerates. Mark suicided in Gen Pop. Official story. Whispers said cartel payback for a botched border swap. Elena's remnants? Donated to science. Her shell dissected for advances.
Me?
I wrote the book, Swapped, A Sister's Reckoning, NYT bestseller. Netflix option pending. Speaking gigs at TEDx. Women in the crowd nodding fierce. We see you.
Val.
But nights. Alone with the tide. Doubt crashes. Did I avenge? Or just avenge myself? The Barrio Code says blood calls to blood. Silicon Valley says upgrade or die. In America's funhouse mirror. Both ring true. Mia dreams of witches now. Max builds bridges, not traps.
Me?
I watch the horizon, waiting for the next swap, the one we can't outrun. Fade to credits. Debatable as ever.